The Galactic Coalition's Advanced Combat Training Facility orbited the neutron star Cathara 7, a marvel of engineering that allowed species from across the known universe to train under various gravitational conditions. Commander Zixthor, a towering Vrelian with crystalline exoskeleton plating, stood in the observation deck overlooking Training Chamber Theta 9, his 4 eyes fixed on the readouts with growing concern. "Impossible," he muttered in his species' clicking language, which the universal translator rendered into smooth standard. "The humans have only been in there for 20 standard minutes." His assistant, a gelatinous Quilmari named Bloopseth, rippled nervously. "Commander, perhaps we should terminate the session. No species has ever—" "I know what no species has ever done," Zixthor interrupted, his mandibles clicking in frustration. "That's precisely why I'm watching." Inside Chamber Theta 9, the gravity had been calibrated to 3G, 3 times the gravitational pull of Earth's standard. For most species in the Coalition, even 1.5G was considered extreme training. At 2G, the Vrelians, one of the physically strongest races, could barely walk. At 3G, most species would be crushed into unconsciousness within minutes, their circulatory systems failing to pump blood against the relentless downward force. Yet there, in the center of the chamber, Nevaeh was doing push-ups. Her dark hair was tied back in a tight ponytail, sweat dripping from her face to the reinforced floor below. Her breathing was controlled, measured, 1 breath per repetition. Down, up, down, up. The augmented reality counter in the observation deck ticked upward, 247, 248, 249. "This is absurd," muttered Kralvex, a draconian observer whose species prided themselves on their warrior culture. "She should be dead. Her bones should have shattered. Her organs should have liquefied." Across the chamber, Hunter was doing burpees. The tall human male had stripped down to a tank top, his muscled frame glistening with perspiration. Each movement was explosive despite the crushing gravity. Drop, plank, push-up, jump. The jump barely cleared a few centimeters off the ground, but the fact that he could jump at all under 3G was causing several alien scientists to question their understanding of biology. "Heart rate elevated but stable," reported Dr. Thelmara, a ascendant medical officer whose tentacles were frantically inputting data. "Bone density showing no signs of fracture. Muscle tissue experiencing normal strain consistent with intensive exercise. I don't understand. By all our models, they should be paced." Zixthor's eyes narrowed. "How long has this species been in the Coalition?" 43 standard cycles, Bloopseth answered. "They petitioned for military training access only 7 cycles ago. This is their first session in the high-gravity chambers." "Their first?" Kralvex's forked tongue flicked in disbelief. "You're telling me they have no prior conditioning?" In the chamber, Nevaeh finished her set and stood up, actually stood up, under 3G. She walked over to where Hunter was completing his burpees, her movements careful but steady. They exchanged words that the observation deck couldn't hear over the gravity field's interference, but then both humans looked up at the observation window. Hunter raised his hand and made a thumbs-up gesture. Then he pointed upward. "No," Zixthor said immediately. "Absolutely not." Neve was now making the same gesture, both humans grinning despite the tremendous force pressing down on them. "Commander, I believe they're requesting an increase," Bloopseth translated unnecessarily. "I can see that." Zixthor's crystalline plates rattled with agitation. "The answer is no. We increased to 4G and will be scraping human remains off the chamber floor. I won't have their deaths on my conscience." Dr. Thelmara's tentacles stopped moving. "Commander, with respect, their vital signs suggest they could handle more. Not comfortably, but they're nowhere near failure. In fact," she hesitated, "they appear to be adapting in real time. Their cardiovascular efficiency is increasing as we observe." "That's not possible." "I'm aware, Commander. I'm simply reporting the data." In the chamber, The humans had begun a new exercise, squats. Deep, controlled squats under 3 times Earth gravity, as if they were merely warming up at a casual gym. Kralvex leaned forward, his warrior's pride wounded. What is their homeworld like? What environmental pressures created such resilience? Bloopseth accessed the database. Planet Earth, classified as 1G standard gravity, oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere, single sun, remarkably average by most metrics. Average? Kralvex's scales flushed with color. There must be something. Predators? Radiation? Extreme weather? Yes, to all 3, but within normal parameters for inhabited worlds. Although, Bloopseth paused. Their evolutionary history is unusual. They evolved as persistence hunters, chasing prey to exhaustion across vast distances. Their bodies are optimized for endurance and adaptability rather than peak performance in any single category. Zixthor watched as Nevaeh and Hunter began doing jumping jacks, under 3G. Endurance, he repeated softly. They're not built for strength or speed alone. They're built to just keep going. Commander, Hunter's voice crackled through the intercom, slightly strained but clear. Permission to speak? Zixthor activated his microphone. Granted. We'd really like to try 4G, sir. We've trained at altitude on Earth, done high-resistance conditioning. This is tough, no doubt, but we're doing okay. We promise we'll stop if it gets dangerous. You promise? Zixthor couldn't keep the incredulity from his voice. Human Hunter, you understand that dangerous by our standards would mean you're already severely injured or dead? Nevaeh's voice joined in. Respectfully, Commander, I think our standards might be different. Humans have climbed mountains where the oxygen is 1/3 of sea level. We've run ultra-marathons through deserts. One guy once ran for 3 days straight. This is hard, but it's not impossible hard. Not for us. The observation deck fell silent. Finally, Kralvex spoke, his voice filled with something between respect and horror. They think this is training. What do they think war is? Whispered another observer. Zixthor's mandibles clicked in what might have been the Vrelian equivalent of a resigned sigh. Increase to 3.5G, slowly. Monitor every biometric. At the first sign of distress, we shut it down. Understood, Commander. The gravity in Chamber Theta 9 increased incrementally. The humans staggered slightly, adjusted their stances, and then, impossibly, resumed their exercises. As Zixthor watched these strange, enduring creatures continue their workout under conditions that would kill most species, he understood something fundamental about humanity. They weren't the strongest species. They weren't the fastest or most technologically advanced. But they were stubborn. Relentlessly, terrifyingly stubborn. And perhaps, he thought, that was the most dangerous trait of all. In the chamber below, Nevaeh looked at Hunter and smiled. You thinking what I'm thinking? Hunter grinned back. 5G by next week? You're on.